So it looks like a year 2 of Zombies content, or what you might classically refer to it as Zombies Chronicles 2, does look like at this point it is going to be happening for Cold War. And I remember saying a few videos ago, I'm only going to really talk about this stuff if there's something worth discussing, and there has been a lot that's updated since I've last spoke about this. A lot of developments with the entire scene of Black Ops Cold War, Activision more generally, and just what Call of Duty is doing in the next couple of years going forward. And I do say years, but this is going to be pretty big news for at least the game that we currently are playing. So we have a lot to talk about today. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're brand new around here. We're almost at 500,000 subs, and let's get into it. So let me just set the stage really quickly so that all this new information makes sense. And when we lay it out this way, it makes complete sense for us to actually be getting what you might call Chronicles 2, or at least more year 2 zombies content in Cold War Zombies. So basically, we all know this already, that there were the entire Victus set of maps made for Black Ops 4 during a season 2 of that game that were never released. Obviously, Togdertoten and Alpha Omega were supposed to be part of this year 2 for BO4 that didn't happen for reasons we discussed ad nauseum. Point is, we know the maps are made, they exist, and to some degree they are fully functional. Whether that was for Black Ops 4 or that's for Cold War, who really knows? But at this point, it would be pretty easy to just simply port over what they did in BO4 and retrofit the systems to make them fit in Cold War. That being said, the maps that haven't been remastered, obviously, to any real extent are Transit, Die Rise, Buried, and I would even go so far as to say Mob of the Dead. Of course, we got Blood of the Dead in BO4, but if we were talking about a faithful remaster, that obviously hasn't got one as well. Also, Call of the Dead. And beyond that, a lot of the Zombies Chronicles 2 hype or the buzz around it has stemmed from the Kevin Drew tweet. A lot of you guys will remember this from a couple of months ago, where he's like, hey, if you guys ask for Zombies Chronicles 2 enough, essentially is what he's saying, is this opens the possibility and the gateway of this happening. Now, what this means to me is not like, oh, there's enough traffic or there's enough people interested in Zombies Chronicles 2, so now we're going to get to work on it. What it means to me is like he's implying this kind of stuff already exists, and it's going to be a matter of time before we either reveal it to the world or drop it in game. And so it seems like at least it's like more of a forewarning than anything. Now, that's all stuff we know. Just wanted to recap that a bit so everybody's on the same page. And recently, here's some new info that we have, that Activision have been having talks about remastering Call of Duty games in between the release of the, I guess, Modern Warfare 2 of this year and then Treyarch's next title in 2024. As many of you guys know, there's going to be a gap year with mainline Call of Duty games in 2023. Nothing new is going to get released in terms of like an actual IP, but there is supposed to be some sort of free-to-play things, and there's going to be stuff in between in that gap year within us waiting. So you might be asking, what's the big deal? You know, perhaps they're remastering like Modern Warfare 3. That's been the news recently, or maybe they're remastering some other just like regular multiplayer game. What does that have to do with zombies? And this is where things get really juicy. So we have Alex over on Twitter, who is a not only very prominent leaker, he's been right and accurate about literally everything as far as I've been able to tell, and he tweeted that Victus is alive, and this got people curious and wondering what was going on. He then goes on to say WMD and Jungle are just the beginning for multiplayer and zombies. So as you guys know, WMD got released a couple of, I guess like a week ago. It was supposed to be released a few days earlier, but I guess with the entire world situation and what's going on with the current conflict in the world, they actually ended up removing some stuff in that build of the map, so that's why it took a little longer. Wasn't exactly why I thought they delayed it, but they did delay it nonetheless. Now, Jungle is on the way as well, and people have already discovered this map, but it's still in development, still being worked on, and it's not quite ready for release, but it will be coming to Cold War. Like, we do know this for sure. Alex then tweets this image of like a firing range, and for a minute there, I literally thought he was referring to the sharpshooter step on Buried. That's what I got from it, but the replies in the comments seem to think that this is a remaster of a lot of the classic Black Ops 1 maps, like Havana and firing range and stuff like that. It makes sense. All of these maps will likely be coming to Cold War's multiplayer, and then for zombies, this is where things get really juicy. He then tweets these two images right next to each other. So you can see, firstly, he tweets a picture of Arthur/Leroy from Buried, the big giant, and then he also tweets just like a random image of the Die Rise dragons. Pretty obvious what he's getting at here, and then obviously the Victus is a live tweet, but he does say that only two would be a shame, isn't it? And obviously the one that's missing in this bunch is Transit. Now, here's the thing that's interesting. This actually makes me believe it more, or it makes me more curious to see where this goes, and I'll explain why. It actually makes a lot more sense that Transit may not like be within the same pack, or I guess the same content release as these two particular ones. Transit is way too different, and I think that literally just porting it from BO2 as it were in those mechanics, they do not fit in Cold War. They just won't work. So they're either going to have to significantly rework the map, or they might be saving Transit for something else or another purpose. Who knows exactly? I think Die Rise and Buried, and all things considered, would probably work reasonably well in Cold War systems, and that isn't to say they aren't doing transit, and maybe it'll just take a little bit longer to fine-tune it and refine it than the other maps. I'm not entirely sure, but that also brings up something very interesting as well. I feel like we need to be kind of careful about what we call this. Only reason I'm saying that is Zombies Chronicles, the term, has a lot of implications and a lot of weight behind that of what that means, and I've always said from the beginning, if we're just talking about a simple map pack with basically just Victus and those 3 unremastered maps so far, I mean, it's cool, but I don't know if that's exactly Zombies Chronicles 2 worthy. Maybe they're thinking bigger and doing more things outside of it, like maybe some World at War remasters again, perhaps even Nuketown or a more faithful Mob of the Dead. Obviously, that's going on a limb a little bit, but you know what I'm saying. You get the point I'm making. Now, this brings me to my next point, and I'm very confident. At this point, you can quote me on it. I'm like 95% sure that we're going to see some serious Zombies content for Cold War Zombies, and one of the reasons for that is it looks like Activision or Treyarch, whoever, for the most part, has completely pulled the plug on Vanguard Zombies. I think they're going to be doing the bare minimum in terms of updates. Like, literally, Season 2 Reloaded for Vanguard Zombies came out, and you guys remember in Cold War, every time that game updated, whether it was a main season update or a mid-season update, something big was added to Zombies. In some cases, an entire brand new game mode, where in Vanguard, literally this time around for Season 2 Reloaded, the only thing it got really was a couple covenants and a pause button, which is also a scam because the pause button only works for 2 hours. It's kind of embarrassing. It's pathetic. And at this point, it's like they have quite literally just taken the game off life support, and maybe they've taken that team that was working on Vanguard and maybe put them to expedite content on Cold War Zombies. Honestly, that isn't out of the realm of possibility at this point. Speaking of more Zombies content for year 2, not only just in terms of Zombies Chronicles and those unremastered maps, but there's also a DLC 4 map, Spustali, that was at least its code name, that you guys know we've talked about a lot on this channel. What we thought was going to be DLC 4, but wasn't. It ended up being Forsaken. But to some extent, we really do have strong feelings that this map still exists, and they're either planning on releasing it for this upcoming year of Cold War, or maybe this will be just before the Zombies Chronicles 2 pack. Either way, there's a lot of unreleased Zombies content for this game that is just waiting to be released. Now, it's important to mention, while Alex is extraordinarily accurate in what is coming to the game content-wise, he does say in this tweet that he didn't give any time frame or reference, and what this means to me is they're probably going to do stuff like this either after the release of Modern Warfare 2 or sometime this summer before then. I think those are the only 2 realistic timelines. I don't see them trying to release content that directly competes with Modern Warfare, so I don't think it's going to be this fall. It's going to be, you know, definitely before, or it's going to be after that game releases. And that's the thing as well. I don't want to speculate too hard about timeline, to be honest, but I am very confident at this point. You can literally quote me on this. You can go back to this video and check it, and this will probably be the last time I talk about it until it actually is in the game or there's something like real to chew on. But right now, my confidence that we're getting some serious content for Cold War in year 2, whether it is, I guess, let's call it Zombies Chronicles 2, or it's just more maps in general, my confidence is extraordinarily high that we're going to see some stuff. Again, timeline a little bit more difficult to say, but it's now become so obvious, and when you really look at it with everything as it is and you put all the pieces together, it's pretty obvious something big for Zombies is coming before the year 2024, which is good news. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. That's pretty much all I got for you. Zombies Chronicles 2, for the most part, I guess if you want to say it, is confirmed in my opinion, and I think this really does back it up. When? Who knows, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Either way, let me know your thoughts down below, and I also do stream over on Twitch if you guys don't already follow me. I'm probably streaming right now. Link is in the description. I'd love to see you there, but anyways, make sure you subscribe before you go. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.